And I didn't realize it was damn cold in Texas. This is the right spot, right? Yeah. We're in Houston, Texas at the Attend Growth Cons, and Ricardo hosting it. This is a dinner that we're having. About 60 people coming here to pour into everybody here. Wholesale and everything. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. Got 4 flips, 5 flips right now. We're trying to finish those up, get them off the books, and just wholesale and everything. We're taking everything to MLS now. So we get it, lock it up. I'm straightforward with them. We're gonna list the property, and we're putting them on MLS, getting full asking for them. And then we're blasting out to our buyers, start reaching out to agents, and then put on MLS. But I mean, that's the way to go, I think, right now, to move more deals, because buyers are scarce. I mean, I be seeing deals that like ARV is 300 and they want 120 for it, and investors still like, no. I get so many wholesalers. Like, this one guy called me yesterday. He was like, yo, I got a bunch of properties. Boom, new kid, right? He got like 8 properties locked up. He's like, I want to fix and flip them. I said, have you ever done any of that? He was like, nah, but I'm looking for a partner. I was like, what do you mean partner? He said, somebody that can go on the loan with me and bring money to the table. I said, well, I'm not interested in doing that because I got my own deals right now. And he shows me this one deal. He said, man, but this is a home run deal. I said, okay. I said, you're asking $385. You said the rehab was $50,000 to $75,000. You're trying to add 1,000 square feet to that house. That's $100 grand by itself. Yeah. I said that rehab is $150 to $200. I was like, and then the ARV is $750. That's a terrible price point to be at right now. Yeah. I'm like, that's just not a deal I would do. Exactly. We're trying to keep everything under $350. ARV $350, under around there, cool. And then we'll do it. But when you start flipping those higher price homes, $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, you know, you're making $300,000, $400,000, $500,000. Like, we're lucky we make $40K on a flip. So I got to flip 30 of those to make what you make off of the one. So, and we're also going into commercial and just new construction. You know, I'd rather just get a piece of dirt, build from the ground up, make sure it's in a good area, numbers right, and just go with that. In Atlanta, it's the R4 and R5 lots, and you can build up to 4 on there. Because one of the flips that we had in Atlanta and Oakland City, we sold it, but we was gonna put 2 tiny homes on it, and we wind up selling it or whatever like that. But I'm trying to wholesale as much as I can right now just to get liquid, so when the bottom does drop out, I can add a couple of zeros on whatever I got. That's it. Yeah, so it's a good time. It's gonna be a lot of opportunities, man. For the ones that make it through, because a lot of people have been throwing their towels in. I see a lot of people dropping out. Good? Good to see you. Yeah, so most of my contracts are 30 days out, but if I'm doing like a novation, I'll date it 60 days out. And what I usually do is I tell the homeowner, I give them a crazy lowball cash offer that I know that if they take it, I'm shocked. And usually they're like, well, that's a little bit low. I'm like, well, I can get you a little bit more, but this is how the process goes. I'm part of a huge buying network. It's my obligation to share my inventory with them, and then I have to list the property. And if you're okay with me doing those 2 things, I can get you a little bit more money. Like, okay, that's fine. I don't care. You know what I'm saying?
Well, so, do any of them ever say, well, if that's the case, I'll list them myself?
Yeah, they do, and I tell them you can, but then you got to deal with the sellers, the buyers, realtors, you know, showings and everything. I deal with it, and you just show up to close it. You don't take none of your day out. So some people go for it. Some people like, nah, I don't want to do that. That's fine. It ain't each his own. But MLS right now is the way to go, because a lot of the cash buyers are just scared to buy right now, even with good spread. Like, I'm seeing deals. Last year I would have took it. I'm like, nah.
Yeah, I'll see something now.
I just sold one in Ohio. I offered the lady $29,000. She wanted $39,000. I told her the only way for me to get you $39,000 is to sell it on MLS, and I listed it for $49,000. When we closed, I just did an assignment contract. And she was like, yo, I noticed the house is listed for $10,000 more. I said, yeah, we have fees, we give commissions. I was like, but we have to be priced there for you to get your $39,000. And I had to just maneuver and just say, all right, what business model works for me? And that is inbound leads, where I can have a better conversation, right? And I'm building my team like the Navy SEALs. You send them 5 in and they wipe the whole state out. That's what I want. All you need is 4 or 5 killers, right? You don't need 15 acquisition agents. If you need 15 acquisition agents to lock up 10 deals or 20 deals, either your process is trash or they're trash. You know what I'm saying? But if you got a good closer, like I lock up on PPC and Facebook leads, I'll lock up 1 in 8 or 1 in 10. So if I get 100 leads, I'm putting 10 under contract. You know what I'm saying? But when you start to add all those other pieces, and you gotta manage the cold callers and do all that, it takes you off of the phone. We had about 72 people here, and we did something really, really great. Everybody here at the dinner donated $100. It was about 72 people, $7,200, and that was the gift, the tip that we actually gave the waiter. So it's a good night. Way to start it off. Ricardo, you the man. 10 growth. Let's go.
After we switched to inbound marketing, we did that about 3 or 4 months ago, man. Last month was the first month that we got the biggest return on we spent like $8,500 on PPC and got like 11 contracts. I locked up all 11 myself. I locked up like, it was like 3 or 4 in one day. And this is the crazy thing. I locked up 11 last month, and I probably was only on the phone like 3 days. That's where I'm lacking right now, is because I'm moving around doing things. Nope. I need to get to a point where we're sending out 25 offers a day, right? And my tolerance level for individuals, I fired a guy like a month ago on the second day for being like 7 minutes late. He came late the first day, and he lived 5 minutes from the office. I live 45, and I'm here early. So we in there the first day, and my wife was like, she's like, I don't like the way he looks at you. My wife was super protective. She's like, every time you turn around, he's looking at you weird or something. And he did have this weird aura about him. Yeah. So we'll put him through the training, because we put him through training. Like, they got to watch all of the videos and stuff like that. I turn around, this dude is like sitting down. It looks like he's either sleeping or meditating on the side of his desk. So I'm like, he doesn't realize that I'm right here, right? Like, I'm here. All night it was bothering me. I was like, God, let him come in 1 minute late tomorrow. If you want me to fire him and he's not the right one, he came in it was 10:07. Called him walking up. I was like, hey man, I was like, I'm just gonna be completely honest. I'm gonna have to let you go. This ain't gonna work. He's like, what do you mean? I was like, you're late. He was like, yeah, just give me another chance. I said, your first 2 days you was late. So how many more of those do you think is gonna happen? I'm like, and you live 5 minutes from here. I was like, you know, I was like, it's just not. I was like, nah, it's not gonna work. So my tolerance level, so that's why, like, what I'm building right now is, I don't mind closing everything. I don't mind that. I know everybody not, okay, that's cool. To me, I'm gonna prove that I'm the best closer in the country. If that means me getting 20, 30 contracts a month by myself, I'm gonna show them that this is the shit that I do. Everything else I'll outsource. Transaction coordination, outsource it. Dispo, outsource it. 3 or 4 people, and we could do $250 a month. That's all I need. So, and I'm willing to pay people 6 figures. If you could come in and bring value, and this is what you do to the table, cool. I want you to drive a Rolls Royce just like I drive, or whatever I drive. I want you to drive a Lambo. I want to drive a Lambo. I don't want to be the only one with a Lambo. I want everybody to have a fucking Lambo. You know what I'm saying? Because they start looking at you like food. Like, and that's the natural progression for business. It's like you bring somebody in, you have to give them room to grow. You can't have them stagnant. in one spot, because then they're gonna come across something a little bit better, and for $5 more, $10 more, they're like, I'm out. So if I bring somebody in and they're an asset and they're crushing it, I'll give them a percentage of the company. You're on a salary and you get commission and you could get shares in the company. I'm okay with that, you know what I'm saying? It's just hard to find people that really want to work nowadays. It's like, yeah, I want to make $100 grand a year. I'm like, well, this is what you gotta do. Oh, I didn't want to do that much. Okay. That was the same thing that happened in the uniform company. That's what made me shut the uniform company down, was the fact that I couldn't get good staff. And my tolerance level is 0. Like, I know you have a learning curve, but if I tell you that, like, on all black shirts, blue ink goes on them, and then you keep putting red and orange after 3 months, I'm like, bro, it's blue ink on black shirts. That's all. When I walk away from the music industry, we had a number 6 record on Billboard. It was called Think Big, right? The album was called Scripture One, the beginning of, ranked top 100 on Billboard. In the middle of all of it, I quit. And the reason why I quit was we had a radio station that we were supposed to go to. Now, mind you, I'm funding everything, right? We're on tour, I'm buying vehicles, Suburbans. I spent around $300,000 in like a short period of time, in like 6 months. Just pushing the whole thing, the album, all of the producers that we got on there. We did everything. People thought we was on damn Def Jam. Cause like, oh, I see you in the Sauce, I see you here, I hear you on Hot 97, I said, what's up? I'm like, yeah, but I'm not getting paid. We had a big radio station, one of the biggest ones in Atlanta. And I had just lost everything. Like, I literally had to let my house get foreclosed on, surrender my Denali, just to move down to Atlanta, right? Just to be able to survive. Because I'm like, I can't afford up in New York no more. My friend was like, come down to Georgia, right? So we get down to Georgia, and I tell the guys, I said, hey, yo, you know, because we just lost everything, so I moved everybody to Georgia into an apartment, and I was on the road, right? And I was tired of hearing my kids talk about they hate me because I'm not around and stuff like that. They're kids, they're little, you know, they don't know no better. And I tell these guys, say, yo, the traffic in Atlanta is crazy. So we gotta be there at like 9, you guys gotta be here, we gotta leave out here at 7, right? Because they wanted to go out, because they never been to Atlanta and everything. Go out, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. So I had to cancel the interview. And I'm like, do you realize how hard I worked to get us on this radio station? It was like Greg Street or whatever, the biggest one in Atlanta. I'm like, and you guys are fucking out. You're out. 12 people, 13 people, and I had a 2-bedroom apartment, everybody in the living room. I was like, listen, man, I was like, I'm tired, I'm burnt out, I'm frustrated. I'm like, none of you guys are pushing like I'm pushing, right? I'm exhausted financially, spiritually, mentally. So this is what I need y'all to do. I need y'all to get all of your shit and get the fuck out of my house. And I quit. And that's the day. I never did nothing else with music from that day. That was 2002, 21 years ago. And we had a top 10 record on Billboard. The shit was on Rap City, everything. I was like, I quit, I'm out. Because I knew that I would be able to get back into the music industry on my terms, and I don't have to babysit you guys. Like, I never been that type that's gonna sit there and hold your hands, especially if we're all men and we're all trying to get to a certain place. I shouldn't have to hold your hand to get there. Do I regret it? Yes, I do regret it, because I know in the music industry where I would have been right now. Like, I got some of my friends, they're the head of stuff like that. And they're like, yo, whenever you want to come back, you can come back, right? So I knew that I would go back on my terms, and then, you know, I didn't burn any bridges. People knew I was all about the money. I paid. I was one of the rare ones that would, in the music industry, that actually paid people. Like, the producer that produced a Millie for Lil Wayne still hasn't got paid for that record. Still hasn't got paid. It's hard for you to get paid in the music industry. Like, you shoot a video for a record label, shit, they may pay you 2 years from now. And what are you gonna do? You can't do nothing about it. You know what I'm saying? So when I used to find people, I'm like, how much you charge for a video? 3 grand? Cash, here, come on, let's go. So everybody was like, I'm fucking with Shamus, I'm going with him, I'm gonna work with him, you know what I'm saying? So that's how I was able to get to where we was at with the music. Is I was just like, man, I paid to play. The music industry is a business. It's business. That's what it is. You wouldn't say, hey, let's start a Subway, but I don't have any money. It costs money to push a record. To break a record on radio is around $250,000 to break a single. And that's just to break the record on radio. That's not talking about video and Spotify and all of the other people that you have to grease their palms. You don't have to have a huge following. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you look at Nipsey's first album, he only printed up 1,000 copies and sold it for $100. If an artist did that once a year, that's $100,000. You can live okay with $100,000. I was working on an app, and I'm still probably gonna do it, called Rap Fan. And what happens is like, because my son was gonna be the first one. What happens is you pay $100. We build an app, and with that $100, you get a piece of merch. You get a ticket to a show in whatever city you want to go to. You get a 15-minute FaceTime with the artist, and then you get like an autographed piece of memorabilia for $100. So I'm like, man, you get 10,000 people pay a fucking $100. That's $1 million. They'll pay the $100 just to talk to you for 15 minutes.
Yes.
Like, oh, I get to get on the phone with him? Yeah.
For sure.
15 minutes. What you get? $100? So we're gonna work on that and build that out for independent artists. That's like, hey, this is a route you can go. And then the thing about it is when you're making money with the music, now it's so easy with digital stuff, is if you're a smart artist, you just invest those funds back into more marketing. You get on more radio stations and stuff like that. That's how Nips and a lot of these dudes did it, is they grind it out like that slowly until they got that momentum, and then a major came along and gave them $5 million and $10 million. Now at a point, if I'm at a point like that, and a major comes along, it's like, I'm gonna give you a $10 million check, I'm taking a $10 million check. And this is what was crazy, was when I was leaving the music industry, I had several deals on the table. Master P wanted me to sign with him. They were shooting, I forgot what movie they were shooting in Canada. But he wanted me to come up there. I didn't want to do that because I know you was going to try to make me No Limit, and I had my own shit. It was Universal, Master P, and my wife is the one that stopped me because I was going to sign to Universal, and she was like, what are you going to do? I said, they're going to give me a check for $200,000-$300,000. I'm going to take the check, I'm going to cash the check, and I'm going to tell them to go fuck themselves. I'm not making no more records. And she was like, you going to brown? I was like, I don't give a fuck. I want my money back. I'll take the check. You going to write it off? And I ain't gonna make no records. I don't care. What you gonna do? You gonna come get the $300,000 from me? Come on, come get it from me. You know what I'm saying? Come get it. And she was like, yeah, but what if you want to go back into music? My wife always she's always the one talking sense to me. Because she's like, you think about this, you gotta think about that, think about that. I definitely learned to listen to her more.
So we usually send a purchase sale agreement, and then we do an attorney in fact to list it, and then you have the novation indemnification agreement. That's probably the hardest part, is finding those team members that will do what they say they're gonna do. You don't have to watch over them and stuff like that. That's the biggest problem that I have.
You just need them to buy into your culture and your training and you. Like, you want them to not emulate you, but you need to be. They need to be some type of mentee.
Yeah, for sure.
Like
I think that also too, you have to have, like, you're passionate, like our conversation yesterday, you're passionate about documenting. So everything that needs to be done, you want it to be A1.
Right.
We get individuals that want to do it. Y'all want to do a video, but I don't want to edit today.
So then the point
fucking have to edit
it's
today.
the attitude toward the thing they gotta do.
Exactly.
That should come easy.
Yeah, exactly. I've been trying to move to just find younger college kids that ain't fucked by the world.
Unmolded.
That's unmolded by the world, exactly.
I got these two knuckleheads, man.
I'm trying to teach like my younger son. I'm telling him, like, bro, if you listen to what I'm telling you, you're 19, 21, 22, you can drive whatever car you want, live wherever you want, do whatever you want. Just, I'm giving you the blueprint. You know what I'm saying? I wish growing up that I had somebody that was like, only thing I got taught was like, sell more weed, sell more this, sell more that. Sell more. Nobody said start a business or no shit like that. I was like, I didn't have no entrepreneur, no family. I'm like, I'm a hustle. That's what we do. I'm either gonna hustle, rap, or I'm gonna get to the NBA. One of those got to work. And it was the hustling that worked for me, and the rapping. I don't see myself ever retiring. No, I just can't. I could see myself at 75. Listen, sir, we got to do it for 118.37. I mean, it just has to happen. It just has to happen. As soon as I open up my feed, I'm gonna either see Mike, Tony, or Eric every morning. Dispo Daddy or Phone Goat or Cash. As soon as I open up, y'all are the first ones I see on my feed. What's even better is to see where everybody came from, to start, and to really see that progression. You know, we're gonna look back 2 years from now. I'm like, yo, you believe we make $2 million a month from this shit now? And I'm like, damn, really? And you look back on it, and I learned to just enjoy the process. And what Matt said is what I feel is my biggest fear is like, I believe that when you set certain goals, whether it's business-wise or financial, whatever like that, and you get there and you're unfulfilled, that's the worst feeling, man, because you really don't know what else. You thought that was gonna make you happy, and it doesn't. And that's how I feel. You know, I feel like, I gotta find my purpose, and my purpose is serving and helping people that came from where we came from that don't think they have an out. So we're at an event, but we got a closing. So I got to get these documents notarized and overnighted for our closing, so it doesn't stop. I need to get these. This is notarized right here. I don't know if they can see that fine print, but. Not bad.
That's only.
Yeah. Monday is fine.
Monday's fine?
Yeah, Monday's fine. The craziest thing is to be at an event and still have a closing. You're doing it virtually. You physically don't have to be there. That just shows you that you can make money from your phone or your laptop while you're moving. Wholesaling, virtually, nationwide. So she's a performance coach, but the most important thing she said is like she was doing all these real estate transactions. She said, but I didn't heal from inside. Yeah. And I had to get rid of everything and grow like that. And that's what you did for me.
Did she already speak?
Yeah, she was the first one. Yeah, she was like, I doing all these deals, doing all of this, but inside.
She's in real estate too?
Yeah, I know. She's from Atlanta. I've been to her office and I know her for like 6-7 years.
Wow.
And she's like, she had to let it all go because she was hurting inside. You get to that level, and then you have to dig inside to clear some stuff out to go up to the next layer and to the next layer.
And that's where we talk about scalability.
Yeah.
Like not every single industry is scalable. So you have to understand like, well, how do I pivot, or how do I create a new form of vertical integration, or I'm integrating differently. So that like opened my mind, because I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even think certain things aren't even scalable. That's the gift and the curse with us.
Yeah.
Is we'll be doing something, have a little issue, money comes this way, I'm out. I'm not doing this no more. And you pivot, and that's what winds up happening. Like we think about so many ideas and everything, and then we're like, man,
I have a new idea every Friday. I'm like, this is a way better idea than wholesale.
Yeah,
we should do this.
Exactly. I mean, look how much money he's making doing that. We ain't got to go through this shit.
Do this. There's no problem.
Like I told my buddy the other day, I said, listen, if somebody gave me a shovel and said, this shovel right here, if you go shovel that horse shit, you're gonna make $1 million a month. I'm the best horse shoveler in the United States.
Busy. Always busy.
This the man right here, man.
Mayor, man. The governor.
Cash.
Yes, ma'am.
And I had several companies before that I burnt out, closed down. It was the work,
Your
the inner work.
Your food is on point, the consistency.
Everything, and it changed everything, man.
I have myself a very, very good friend, but also real estate investor that I believe you need to know about and learn more from.
So my name is Shamus Goss. I'm a full-time real estate investor out of Atlanta, Georgia. I fix and flip and wholesale and do a little bit of hotel. We're in 20 markets right now. We were doing all of the cold calling, texting, right? What I found myself doing is having 15 VAs, then I had to get more lead managers, more acquisition agents, and it was just a repeated process of hiring and firing. And then when I looked at it, I said, okay, my VAs are 20,000, my data is 10,000 a month. What would happen if I just took that 30,000 and all did inbound? And that's what we did.
What wakes you up every day to get you moving? Like, why are you doing what you do every day?
That's a good question. My purpose.
And what is that?
So, and I just really, like, I prayed for God to just show me my purpose. And my purpose is to teach individuals that come from where I come from. That come from places like the South Bronx that don't have no guidance.
Right.
Like, I seen my first body at 8 years old. I seen somebody get killed at 8. And that was normal to me, right? But what changed everything in my life is 7th grade, I got kicked out of 3 schools. And my sister took me to Spring Valley, New York, where it was her and her husband, where my house was just me and my mother.
Right.
And it wasn't in projects, it was in a house. I'm like, okay, it's a husband and a wife and family vacations. This is what, and that's what basically changed my life. So I want to be that for as many people as possible, right? Because money don't motivate me no more. And the worst thing you could do is have a goal, have a money goal, and get there and feel unfulfilled. It's like, where do we go next? And that's a terrible feeling. That's a terrible feeling to have. So it's just purpose to know that I'm walking with God, and that I'm going to help as many people and impact as many people as I can. That's what wakes me up.
On that note, I can assure you right now, there's somebody watching who probably sees themselves in you, identify with you, probably have the same upbringing, probably the same challenges. What advice would you give them right now? Let's assume they're probably at the brink of potentially giving up. Mm-hmm. What advice would you give them to keep going?
It's just, just realize that everything you need is in you. It's in you. You just have to pull it out. You have to pull it out. And it's not until you get introduced to certain individuals and peoples and studies that you start to see stuff, right, that you didn't see in your normal environment, right? I look at it like this. When you take a wild animal, you could take a wolf, right, and let him get raised in it. He's gonna kill and do what he has to do. Right. But take that same wolf and put him inside of a home with a family. It's a different dog. Mm. But the environment is the environment. What changed him was the environment. And they asked me that question before, like, how did you pull yourself out? I'm like, he did. I didn't know. I was lost. I was a troubled kid getting kicked out of 7th grade with a firearm and stuff like that. Yeah. And when my sister took me and I seen something different, that's what changed my life. Appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Let's say you're an 18-year-old and you just graduated from high school and you want to get into real estate. What's the first thing you do?
The first thing,
not knowing what you know now. You're 18, you don't know about any of this stuff.
YouTube.
And you want to get into real estate.
YouTube. I would go to YouTube and start Googling how to get into real estate and everything. My first 2 years in real estate, I didn't know what wholesaling was. Right. And that's why I kind of got screwed with the mentors, because I had other deals, but I didn't know nothing about private money or hard money. I'm like, if I don't have the money, I can't do the deal. Yeah. And all I got is these guys that's screwing me. Right. Then I went to Freedom. That's where I met Carlos and Sal and all them. And I'm like, wholesaling? What do you mean? I could just get a sign and sell it? I'm like, just say less. And that, I was like,
more, fam.
You know what I'm saying? Exactly. So I was, YouTube and then courses and dumped into education and stuff like that.
Day 2 of 10 growth.
I'm about to go on a smoothie diet. Like, all I think is smoothies all day. And when I started doing the numbers, I'm like, man, okay, we got 15 VAs, so that's 15,000. We need 100,000 records a month. That's another 10,000. I'm like, we're at 30 grand a month. Yep. Let's just switch this shit to inbound. And then when we did wholesale live, we locked up, it was like 1.1 million. In 3 hours. But this was fascinated about it, because I was like, all right, because all I seen was like the boiler room, like, I'm turning this to the Wolf of Wall Street. We're gonna get a warehouse in Georgia, put everybody in there. But what's crazy was the first 6 rows was all PPC, Facebook, and YouTube.
Oh, sweet.
Row 7 all the way back was cold calling and texting. Out of the 1.1 million, 35 out of the 37 contracts came from the first 6 rows. Yesterday was the first day, and there was a lot of valuable information. One of my main takeaways from yesterday was you come first before your business. Taking care of yourself, self-care, building within yourself is what gets you to that next level, because your business is just an extension of you. So that was one of the main things, is how you have these entrepreneurs that get to these levels and they can't go to the next level because there's a lot of internal stuff that they never fix. So make sure you work on yourself. The speakers that I'm looking forward to hearing is my brother Cash Money Mike. If you don't follow him on Instagram, you gotta follow him, and Tanya Oliver, one of my coaches, personal development coaches. As a matter of fact, Tanya is one of my favorite people, and she's right here.
Yes, we had to do a shoe run because I broke my shoe, so I had to get out of the game, but now I'm back in the game because we do what we gotta do.
We got a panel at 3 o'clock at the Attend Growth Conference. It's gonna be an acquisition panel. Me and a couple other individuals on there just sharing gems and everything that will help you close more deals. Day 3, let's go. Hey, how you doing, man? Shamus, man, nice to meet you, brother. It was a steel company and it was an assembly line. So like you put the sheet of metal on there, then a machine bends it. Our station was, we had to put the support beams in the middle. Once you put the support beams on, it's hard for the next station to put the installation in the beam, because you gotta keep pushing it down. So the manager's here, I'm like, yo, this is backwards. I'm like, it should be a station before us that actually puts the installation in the beam and then give it to us and we could do it and we could skip that station. And he was like, no, this is the way it's supposed to be done. Boom, 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 boom. I'm like, this shit is stupid. I'm like, it's stupid. Like a couple of weeks go by and the big bosses come down and they look at the assembly line and they was like, this is wrong. And I look right at the manager and I was like, I told him. I quit that day. I was like, I told him. And my brother was like, Shamus. I'm like, bro, I just can't do this, bro. I was like, I can't work. I just can't do that. I got to do my own thing. Bro, 6 jobs. None of them last longer than like 60 days. Because I was always telling the boss, like, the way you run this company is dumb. You're dumb. You know what I'm saying? The price is too high. Look at his price and look at your price. And this is my business. Yeah, but you're struggling for a reason. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm a terrible employee, man. And I know that. When I lost everything in 2016 and I started trying to build it back up, I went and got a job at Amazon Prime, delivering. First 2 days is training, right? It teaches you to train, boom. 3rd day, you go out on the road, you shadow somebody. So we're in a truck and the guy is like, he's like, oh, man, you know, you gotta run to the door. I'm like, I'm not running. He was like, man, the fastest way is a straight line. I'm like, I wouldn't want you to walk on my grass. I'm gonna walk up the driveway and I'm not running. We pull up to this spot and they had these big ass Mastiff dogs. And he was like, put it on the deck. I'm like, I'm not getting out. The dog is standing there barking. The dog is like 140 pounds. I'm like, I'm not getting out. I threw the shit in the grass. I'm like, I'm not getting out, right? So the 4th day, this is the 4th day, and they're supposed to give you a half of truck, like 60 packages because you're just starting. So they give me a truck, and on my way getting ready to get in and pull off, the guy was like, hey, can you switch trucks with him because he can't go into that community? You know what I'm saying? But he had a full truck. And I'm like, all right, this is gonna be interesting. So I get to the first subdivision, bro, it's like 400 houses in the subdivision, and my cell phone service is not working in the subdivision. And you need the app to find the houses. So I literally was looking for number of house to house to house to house. Bro, I had maybe like 10 packages living in that neighborhood. It took me like 4 hours to find the houses, bro. So they had what's called rescue. So you would have to say, hey, I don't have my package by a certain time. rescue, this is a spot, and you have other drivers that come that finish early. I may take 20 packages, 30 packages. So I called the rescue, boom, boom. I drove back, I pull in the station, the manager comes out, he was like, man, hey man, he's like, oh man, he's laughing. And in my mind, I'm like, what the fuck is he laughing at? And then he was like, man, he was like, how was your day? I was like, it wasn't. And I took my damn Amazon, I was like, yeah, I quit, man. That shit scared the shit out of me, bro. I was like, is this shit that I gotta go back and do? And that shit lit a fire under my ass to get back out. I was like, I can't do this, bro. So I gotta do this to survive? I'm like, no. Yeah, because it was 12-hour, 14-hour shifts. $600 a week. I mean, that's $2,400. I can't make more. Not gonna, if I deliver more packages, you're not gonna pay me more money. And that's the thing for me. Like anywhere that the reason why I'm a terrible employee is because I'm willing to help you push it. Even if it's your company, if I believe in it, I'm willing to help you push it over the top, right? But compensate me. Like if you come into a job at 9 to 5 and you get paid $1,000 a week, and your job is to do 50 contracts a week. Let's say you're sending contracts out, you do 50 a week. If you do 100 a week, do they pay you $2,000? Hell no. Hey, great job. You know what I'm saying? So I have to be able to elevate. And if you tell me, hey, unlimited potential of earning, bro, I'll put 80 hours in your company. That's cool. Just let me live. Individuals like us have to be salespeople because we know, hey, I need extra money. All I gotta do is sell another 10 accounts, and I got the extra money.
If we don't value ourselves, we can't prioritize ourselves.
If you didn't call twice, you didn't call at all.
I want to add something to it. If you're in acquisitions, what you have to learn to do is to listen more than you talk. And you have to identify those underlying problems. You know, you could talk to somebody on the phone and you'll say one thing, and if you pull the right you ask them the right question, you pull it out of them, they're going to tell you everything that they're going through. I've been on phone calls where I talk to a homeowner and I know their house is in foreclosure and they do not say it. And I start talking to them, and 10 minutes into the conversation, well, you know, the house is in foreclosure. In my mind, like, I already know, you know, but I'm not going to lead them. Hey, I know your house is in foreclosure. Make sure that you learn to listen more than you talk and to identify the underlying problem and provide a solution. That's all acquisitions is you're providing a solution for that person that has the problem.
Everybody talks about systems and process, right? How do we, as a newcomers, can you recommend us like the simple things to start working on as like system and process? Or am I maybe lost?
I got something too. I got something. You go first.
Thank you.
Your KPIs, 4 KPIs.
I don't even. That's what I was gonna say.
We just started, like we just.
How many are in here in acquisitions? Okay. Are you tracking how many calls a day you're making? How many conversations you're having? How many offers you're sending out? If you can't track that, then you can't adjust to it and you can't measure it. A lot of individuals, they just guess. Oh, I think I made 20 calls. Yeah, but it may take 200. Like he said, you have to know how many dials, how many calls, how many contracts to get a deal, how many deals close, and then you can scale that. If you don't know your numbers, you don't have a business. For everybody in here, my name is Shamus Goss. If you follow me, if you're having issues with KPIs, I'll send you calculators and all of the tools that we use so you can implement that in your business.
Value add. Right there at the camera.
All right, guys. You gotta finish the play. In your sales process, everybody gets an offer. You gotta get the offer. It takes a certain amount of offers to get a certain amount of contracts. I know a lot of wholesalers that what they're doing is they're talking to
the homeowner. Like, I'm gonna get your offer. You get up to them and you don't send them an offer because you think, I don't care if you can ask for 300. If my offer is 100, I'm telling you 100. You can't reach to the phone and do shit to me, right? I'm built for it, exactly.
Yeah.
We finished up here Sunday at a 10 Grove in Houston, Texas. Phenomenal event. If you didn't get here, you missed it. You got to get to the next one. We had a bunch of speakers. I was on the acquisition panel, gave a lot of knowledge, a lot of value. Make sure you get out there. Make sure you network. Let's go.